In the death of a Capitol Hill protester and an Air Force veteran. That's Ashli Babbitt. Just last month, in fact, the Department of Justice announced they will not pursue charges against the U.S. Capitol Police officer who fatally shot Babbitt on January 6th. Officials determining there wasn't enough evidence to support a criminal prosecution. Joining us now to discuss is Ashli Babbitt's husband. That's Aaron Babbitt, joining us now nationally for the first time. Aaron, I want to welcome you to the program. Thanks so much for taking the time. There's so much to get to with you, absolutely. It's been nearly 4 months since that incident. Before I move on to anything else, how are you doing? How is your family holding up through all of this? Because it's been in the headlines. It continues to be. I'm sure you have so many different feelings and emotions going through you.
Yeah, I mean, that's the question we get every single day, and there's no real true answer to that. I mean, we're not doing well. We are, without Ashli, that void, it might as well be a giant black hole. I mean, she has touched so many lives, and this is from coast to coast. Thousands of people are, missing Ashli. It's not just us, so.
Aaron, thank you for sharing that, by the way. A lot of folks want to hear from you and how you're doing and get an update on that, because there hasn't, quite frankly, been a lot of updates, on the story of her death. Since just recently you heard that the officer that was involved in taking your wife's life will not be charged, saying there wasn't enough evidence. When something like that, and you hear something like that, when you found out that the officer would not be charged, what went through your mind and how are you feeling about that today?
I personally was already prepared for it. If you remember back in January, within a week or two after, it kind of got leaked that they weren't going to be pressing charges, but the investigation was ongoing. So for it to come out 3 months later, I don't know what they were doing in between then. If they had already made the decision back in January, they weren't going to press charges, they should have just done it then. But just kind of coincidental that all of a sudden they decided to come out with that, last week. So,
Aaron, we watch as a nation so many different shooting deaths across our nation, and whether it be in Columbus, Ohio, or North Carolina, or Minneapolis. A lot of it's caught on camera. The officers either resign or they're put on administrative leave, and then they're charged. This is the process that we've seen over and over. When you watch this, and even as any American has watched, as unfortunate as it is, this was all caught on camera. You saw the shooting death of Ashli Babbitt on camera. We still don't even know who that officer is. Were you ever told who this person is?
No, we have heard nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's been radio silence from day one. I mean, I've probably spoken to the same Metro Police Department detective maybe 2 or 3 times, and that was it. One of those times being back when they decided to tell us that they weren't going to be officially pressing charges. So no, it's been very quiet.
A lot of the families that have suffered these losses at the hands of the police department, and we do so many of these segments, we do so many of these interviews, they find some sense of relief. Nothing obviously, stops the pain of a loss, but they find some relief noticing and seeing that this was pushed forward, justice was pushed forward, that someone had paid a price for the crime that was committed. Insufficient evidence. Again, that's why this officer, again, still unnamed, insufficient evidence for them to charge this person. Without this officer being charged, is there any relief for you or your family? Why or why not?
There's never going to be relief, whether he's charged or not. I mean, there's no charges and there's no amount of money that's going to bring our Ashli back to us. We do want justice for Ashli. There has to be justice for Ashli. And we're quickly finding out that the Capitol Police Department just operates on, with full autonomy and, basically no rules. And the sad thing, on top of that is the same people that are, pushing these bills for police reform, they have their own private security in the form of a police department. And they're protecting that officer, and They don't want anything to happen. It's just tragedy.
Aaron, I want you to know, man to man, I understand the difficulty of this interview, and I can't express my condolences to you more, and to take the time to do this. I feel it's important, before we go, if you could share maybe one last memory that you have of Ashli, something positive that you can share. So many on social media, so many on television, so many outside of television feel that Ashli's name is not mentioned enough. Do you agree with that? And what was your last memory of your wife?
My last memory of my wife was on the morning of the 5th, when I was leaving for work, and she was in the shower. She had to flight out to DC. Put in a couple hours after that, and I went in. I gave her a kiss. Told her I loved her, and she just looked back at me with her grin, and she said, "I'm going to go. Do you?" And I said, "No, I don't. I have a bad feeling about this one." And she's, "You're worried about me, aren't you?" And I said, "Baby, I'm always worried about you. Far from a control freak, but I just like being able to control my environment when it comes to my wife." And it was a very helpless feeling watching her die on TV. That's what happened.
Aaron, they're still pushing for justice out there. There's a lot of folks that are behind you, and they want to see that. I hope that you'll come back on the show and talk to us, and I appreciate your bravery for coming on and sharing this. All the best to you and your family. That is Aaron Babbitt.
I would love to come back on. I would love to come back on. If I can just add real quick, there is a @4Ashli on Twitter. That is our legal team. They are amazing. They're steadfast, and they are the tip of the spear on this thing. So if we can get that out there, if people want to follow along with what's going on, it's @4Ashli, FORASHLI.
I'm sure they do. Aaron Babbitt joining us live. Aaron, thank you for your time. I'll see you again.
Hi, Emma Reckenberg here. If you like this video, there's a whole lot more to see on Newsmax TV. You can watch for free right here on our YouTube live stream and be the first one here each time our experts break down real news. Just hit that subscribe button, ring the bell icon, and stay with us on America's fastest growing cable news channel, Newsmax TV.